Hello, my name is Amber Schroader and I'm the founder of Paraben Corporation. I'm going to take the next 15-20 minutes and walk you through a quick demo of the E3 forensic platform. Paraben Corporation has been doing digital forensics since 1999, and we've been offering technology that allow you to find the best solutions for your lab and find all of those different data gaps out there that might exist, from other tools missing information to you just not having another tool that supports it. So let me show you some of the things that make the E3 platform the perfect fit for your lab. First off, E3 is easy to use. The interface is a left-to-right style interface that walks you through a digital forensic or digital investigation workflow. It has a variety of support of different data types, from computers, internet data, to smartphones. We do it all. It is also efficient in how it uses the processing engines. We have 62 different processing engines, and that number changes all the time as we add new data sources into the platform. It is also effective. When we process data, we process it completely. We look at metadata, we do full text indexing, we support a variety of different language types, and we recover deleted information, all part of the process and all included in the single platform. When we look at the E3 workflow, we go through 3 different steps in the workflow. First, the collection step allows you to collect logical and physical images of a variety of different data types, to include mobile, IoT, computer, cloud, internet data, email, and so many more. Then you jump to the processing stage of the platform, where you're able to pull information such as unique data from the mobile activity timeline, which is everything the mobile has done from the user versus the machine. You can sort the data into logical categories based on the header information associated with those files. You can do a full text index, not only in English language, but in over 15 different languages you can do an index. And you have, of course, different options when it comes to reviewing that data, from searching, from complex expressions to regular expressions, to even looking for emojis and emoticons. We have it all inside the E3 platform. The final step of the process is looking at the review stage of the process, which we have a great review platform where you can share your case data with others, and they also get to benefit from all the amazing search engine capabilities and reporting capabilities. And if that's not enough, you can generate some of the best kick-ass reports in the industry. They look fantastic and they show a great amount of your work product in an easy-to-follow interface together, referenced for them to click through, review messages, and be able to see how much work you put in. Now I'm going to actually go through the platform with you with some great sample data. Let's take a look. Now we're in the E3 platform. As you might see, the interface is pretty simple. We have a nice ribbon bar, we have an evidence tab, an analysis tab, and a reports tab. Then you can get into enhanced capabilities with our tools, view, and export options available to you. I'm going to keep this demo short so you get a quick review, and then you know what? You can start a trial on your own. We're happy to offer you a 15 or 7-day trial depending on what fits your schedule, so you can start using the E3 platform in your organization and see how it can fit for you. So let's start out with taking a look at our computer evidence. When we add evidence, we have wizards that will walk you through the process of starting a case, to seeing the variety of different evidence sources that we have available to us. As you can see, we have a huge amount of information we can support. Anything from looking at logical drives to physical drives that are associated with the system, to a support of a huge variety of different image files. We even have a free imaging tool available to you that is bootable and can do a triage image or a full disk image. We also support different email databases, chat databases, the Windows registry, internet browser data, gaming data, social media, Google, SQLite, and of course we get into mobile and our other Paraben tools and some of the unique pieces of information we support. Let's start out with looking at an image file. I'm going to take a look at a Windows 10 image. Once I add my image, it can allow me to change the name of it. I'm going to keep it as Windows 10. When we start jumping into the image, we have a couple different options available to us. We can choose at this point to deep dive into the file system and immediately start processing. E3 is a threaded platform, so you can see down here in the task pool that we can get some of that started right off the bat, or I'm going to not select these and show you one of my favorite features in E3. Once I've added the image, I'm going to go over to my tree view here. It's immediately going to show me the primary image, and my favorite part, this is one of my winner features, is the data triage portion. You see how quickly that works to be able to give me a triage of what information is potentially on this computer image that I could find as evidentiary. Anything from the number of email databases out there, I have one that was moved or deleted and I have one that's a primary, to the different chat databases that were used, to even what internet browser is their default browser and they were using. All of this information really helps me get a scope of what I might be investigating in this particular computer image. If that's not enough, I can go down to other triage topics like my cloud storage. I know now they were connected to OneDrive, to even getting into some of the deep dive of the Windows registry, and I can do so very quickly with a few clicks. If I'm doing a particular type of investigation, we've even made it easy for you to have specific categories that might be valuable to you in that type of investigation, in this case incident response, optimized together so you can quickly reference those to see where you might have had a penetration occur in the system. In this case, I'm just going to walk you through some of my favorites. So one of the things that I like that is a unique data gap that the E3 platform shows you is on a Windows 10 or 11 system, you'll see the use of Cortana. She's a valuable resource to many people out there when she answers their questions and gets them going into their computer. So this allows you to immediately go through and pull all of those different Cortana recordings and review them. That's a data gap that you might be missing, and it's something that you can find valuable inside the E3 platform in the very quick data triage. If I were continuing to want to look through the data in here, let me open up my Windows Mail. One of the nice things that you have inside the E3 platform is when we process mail, and this is an OST file, we like to process the mail as a native mail file. We don't go through and make you convert it first. We make sure that we can go through and process it directly. This is true for all the different email archives that we process, which there are dozens of, including things like Windows 10 native email and Windows 11 native email. As you can see from my primary view window, I can see all the great information here, and I can rearrange the way that my interface looks to make it easier for me to review. There are lots of different email functions, and we'll do a separate demo just on those functions, or you can have one of our team members do that with you. You can go through and deduplicate these processes, or you can go through and export them out as different email containers. You also have a variety of different search available to you. One of the nice things that you have associated with it is when we look at email, we make sure we reference all of it. You get the full header information, and it is complete, as well as the text of the message, the HTML formatting that might have been dealing with it, and also any attachments that could be available. Now, this attachment you would have thought might have been a picture of a husky, but in fact it is not. It is data that can be viewed through our quick and easy viewers. And then look at this, it's text. One of the nice features you have when you start going through the content analysis wizard that I'll generate and show you in just a moment is that we go through and we support OCR in a variety of different languages, which means all of this text would have been searchable for you after you ran it through that engine. You have a huge variety of functions and features. Now we're just in triage. There's a lot more when you start getting involved into the data. Now let's show you some of that process. I've done a little bit of processing very quickly. This is one of those video demo magics. And I've gone through and I've already sorted through the data. You can see here the different categories that we sort with. There are huge amounts of information, and sometimes it can be easy as just going through and saying, hey, I want to see all the graphics associated with this machine, and it's going to pull up that information for me. The sorted pane here allows you to quickly reference anything by header and review the category and say, what data do I have here? And then proceed on to your next step. If we move over to our Analysis tab, we go back to our primary tree and look at all the variety of information you have available to you. You can do something as easy as start our auto exam wizard, which allows you to go through and automatically set parameters and then just set the tool to work. It's a set it and forget it moment. Come back and see what your data has been processed and produced for you. Anything as easy as sorting, which we've done, to exporting different data types, removing duplicates, starting any of our searches or doing a search list, and then you can even have it generate a report for you. That's what AutoExam is there for you, is allow you to make easy choices and have them automated. Our content analysis wizard we've already completed, where I can sort my data, I can index it, I can OCR, or I can scan for malware. Other options available to me are things like our searching. Our searching capabilities are extensive. We can do anything from a search with text or hex, Boolean, regular expression, or a simple search. You can always sort and search by lists. We have a variety of predefined lists available to you as well, or you can do a list that you have selected. We even have the ability to search by emojis and emoticons, matching up what a lot of people need nowadays with the change in variety in our different lexicons. We have a huge amount of different languages available to you, from English to about 150 different language types. All of those can be loaded into your program and processed for you. I can also go through and add in the ability to search in OCR in some of the primary languages such as French, Spanish, German, etc. I can go through and mark out what area I want to search in my drive image, or I can make it very focused into my file system. If I want to do a simple search, such as meeting, I can start that search and I'm going to go through and it's going to list all of my hit results here. As you can see, I have my search results. I can go through and look in binary data for those results, or I can pause it and I can start a different search based on the information I found. There's a lot of variety you can do within the tool. If I move into my reporting tab, very quickly I have a variety of different reports available to me. Based on the type of data I've loaded, my reporting options will change, so I can go through and pick an HTML investigative report where it easily goes through and references all of the data back and forth. Simple text report, a CSV report, which allows me to open it in Microsoft Excel. And I have all the choices to fill in the data as I need and what I want to export, the properties I want to include, and my bookmarks that are available. I can even customize it so it has my organization's logo. Everything is super easy to produce results that you can use. In our Tools tab, we have some of the enhanced capabilities, which we have different demonstrations on. I'm trying to keep this pretty short and simple. I can do anything from creating a forensic container. I can import from Office 365. I can import logs and artifacts specifically associated with Windows. And depending on your licensing, I can even go through and image remotely using the E3 platform. The universal license allows me to image any distant computer that is Windows-based or Linux-based into the tool. I can also change my viewing options and of course our export. You can do something as simple as exporting graphics and multimedia, or I can go through my batch export wizard where it focuses more on different email options, where I can adjust what I might be wanting to take out of a specific email archive. This is a quick preview of some of the functionality and capabilities that we can do with the E3 platform, when it comes to Windows or computer systems. Don't forget, you also have some unique cloud capabilities that come for those data sources. Those data sources can include information from any of these different sources in the list, with or without credentials, because some of these we're able to recover the keys directly from the local system. If you have the credentials, you simply can go through, type them in, choose Authenticate, and capture that information. I'll show you more in the cloud capabilities when we look at one of our mobile devices. Let's go into mobile because we're almost out of time. Now it's time to get started with those mobiles. So I have two different devices connected. Any devices that are connected will automatically show up in your handy mobile acquisition wizard. You will occasionally also see up here media devices. Those are supported within the mobile acquisition wizard because some Android devices have media cards. Occasionally you'll see feature phones in here. You can do GPS devices. There's a huge variety that you can do. So I'm going to get started by starting with our Android device. When we select our device, what happens is it says it's connecting to the device. That's the E3 driver pack loading up all the different drivers that are possible for this device as it connects to it and says, oh, what kind of device are we working with? In this case, I'm working with a Google Pixel device. So it's going to get those drivers. It's already loaded those in the system, and it's going to make it so I can see what kind of options are available to me. You'll see I have 4 up on the screen right now while our drivers are connecting, which is my full logical acquisition, my physical acquisition, a custom logical acquisition, or a triage logical acquisition. Each one of these is available for different device types. With an Android device, you have all 4 available to you. Typically, most people are going to pick a full logical acquisition. That's a great place to start. It's going to give you kind of the root control of the device and be able to really look into what information you have. If you have a limited amount of time, you're going to go for the custom logical acquisition. Will allow me to pick and choose different pieces of information that you might see here. Because I only have the device for maybe 20 minutes, I can't complete a complete acquisition, so I'm going to pick out different areas that I might want in this, like my installed applications. I might want to go through and get the cloud data, which is the authentication data, and I might want to get just the contacts. Or if I have a group of people and we're all working in different locations, but we all want to maintain a standard, that's where our triage acquisition comes in. I can use a basic logical, or I can create my own template here. And it again allows me to collect this very specific things I'm looking for, and it will even take me down to that direct report stage. It's almost like auto exam, but for mobiles. I'm going to go back here to my home screen, pick my Android, and I'm going to choose that full logical acquisition. This is where some of the uniqueness happens with E3. So when I select that unlock file system, the built-in rooting capabilities of E3 will attempt to root this Android device, which will gain me access to that complete file system. I also up here have my root Android device wizard, which allows me to use third-party rooting tools to root the device and then continue in my acquisition. Not every device out there is rootable, but a huge variety is, and we have a great supported model list that shows you exactly what your capabilities are with that. So if I choose to start my acquisition on this device, it's going to do all of the communication with the device. So I'm actually going over to the device to allow the connection. I'm going to authenticate the RSA key. Grant the access it needs. And my acquisition is going to begin. While that acquisition is going, one of the things that I like, which is one of my favorite features, is that user activity timeline. It happens with Android devices, and this is the only tool in the market that has this functionality. It allows me to see all the actions the user has done on this device, and it even points it down to whether or not the user did the device action or the machine, the actual device itself did it. All of that is captured in the user activity timeline. We can see we skipped this file system because it was an ADB backup because we ended up getting root access to this Pixel device. So I'm able to continue my acquisition with full root access, and all of these will get going. Most of the time you're thinking, now I just have to sit and wait for all of this processing to happen. That's not the case with E3. I can start another acquisition right now while this acquisition is going, and I can start that Apple device that I had on the screen. So here's my acquisition wizard again. I'm going to start that Apple device that I have connected. It will process as many devices simultaneously as you have USB ports that you can connect into. With an Apple device, we see we have different options available to us. It's an entirely different file system. So of course we have different restrictions with this. Typically we're going to do our full logical acquisition when it comes to it, and we're going to go through and process it with an encrypted backup. Once this acquisition gets going, we'll start seeing it going, and we can immediately check for our other acquisition. Both our acquisitions are running and processing. We can wait for those to go. We can start another one, or I'm going to do it for the process of the demo. I'm going to move into some of our analytics. Now that my device acquisitions are completed, let's take a look. We can expand our tree view over here. You again see that handy triage process that we do with all of our different data sources in E3, so I can very quickly go through, and if I want to see the installed applications, I can get a very quick comprehensive list of what my suspect was actually doing on this particular device. I can do the same thing whether it is a Pixel device or it is an iOS device. I can immediately see what information I have available to me. Now you might want to start there in your investigation. You might want to go through and start the content analysis wizard, which I just go up to my primary evidence source. I select that content analysis, which is what we talked about in our processing stage. I can choose to sort through that data, index the words. I can do my OCR capabilities. I have it set for English right now, but I can add the other languages in. I'm not going to have to choose my disk option because those are associated with computer data, and I'm currently working with mobile data. I can choose what I might want to skip. And then I also have the capabilities to use Image Analyzer, which is an add-on to the E3 platform that allows you to go through and detect things like flesh tone, drugs, weapons, terrorist activities, and money, different capabilities, all associated just with images. If I hit the Finish button, we can go down to my task pool, and we see that content analysis is now running on my Android device. But you're not stopping for that. You can still start looking through the data and capturing the information and reviewing what you can without it. I always like to actually start with installed applications because applications show a lot of what people are doing in their mobile device. I can also go through and easily look at call history. They haven't had a whole lot of calls, which means they might be a large texter. So let me check their SMS information. They don't have anything in SMS, so that is definitely leading me over into the installed applications and telling me that they have a lot of information, which they do, associated with those installed applications. Anything from Kik, Whisper, they're using Facebook Messenger, to they might be using LinkedIn, they might be in Tinder communicating. All of that is going to give me that perspective I need to be able to continue in my investigation. So let's take a look at something simple such as our Chrome data. We see they have an internet history here. I can go through and look at where they're visiting, the keywords they might have typed in associated with it, and any of the downloads they did from that internet history associated with that. We don't support just the default browser they might have set, but we also support and look at user data associated with some of the other browsers. In this case, they also have Opera installed. Now, if I want to go through and continue, I can keep perusing through those, but I can also go over and look at my application permissions. This is a valuable way to look at an app and the access it has inside the device. So you'll see a 1 or 0, 1 being they have access, 0 they do not. And I can go through and see every single one of the apps. Now it might be that was not how I wanted it arranged. I want to have this column over here. I can easily move around any of the interface itself to where I want it to be, and then I can also resort it. So if I want to look at all the things that did not come from a particular market, so these are an unknown market, then I know that's where I'm going to start my investigation because they did not come from Google Play. So this could potentially be malware on this mobile device. All of those capabilities are in here for me to take a look. Now, what happens if I have an application and it's not parsed by E3? Because there are millions of different applications out there. Here is where you get that big push. If I ever want to look at the raw application data for any one of these apps, I immediately have a path to it and I can go and take a look. It's a very convenient way to know I can look for just about anything I want. If that's not enough, let's take a quick look at authentication data. So authentication data is how we collect all the different cloud keys associated with a device. Technically, you are adding in another piece of evidence, so I might want to export this. And then I want to bring and import that same data back in. But I'm going to do something different on the import. When you bring it into the Cloud Import Wizard, when we bring an authentication data file or a collection of all those keys that we get off the mobile into our Cloud Import Wizard, the advantage that we're going to have is that we're going to be able to see what keys are available. And we see we have Facebook, we have Google Mail, Google Drive, we have potentially Twitter, not Twister, on this device. And then I can go choose to authenticate, and it will tell me if those keys are going to be valid and workable. When I then bring them into the evidence, it will add it as a brand new tree icon over here. So it makes it really easy for you to work with a comprehensive perspective on a mobile device because we don't break it out as individual things you have to purchase. They are included together. So let's look at one of the quick analytics associated with this device. Again, if we want to search, we can do it through the advanced search, or we could do it through a sorted file search since we have that running. But if we want Alex and Steve to come up together, then we can go through and start that search and see if we get any results that are going to help us in our investigation. And it looks comprehensively through anything from this Pixel to this iOS device. So it's working through all of them. Now what happens if you don't want to search through all of it? You can limit the search by just using our helpful little checkboxes to the side. Either way, you've got a lot of different options available to you. Now let's say you want to change up that search and you want to skip particular things. This is a unique function inside of E3. Think of it as a filter. If I know that I really only need Alex and Steve, but I want to skip anything that has Amber in it, then I can go through and skip those items associated with Amber as well. Instead of doing it as a full expression in Boolean, I can actually skip it based on the actual pieces of evidence or individual contents in it. You've got a lot of different options available to you. So one of the last things I want to show you quickly, and I won't do it with these two, but I want to bring it up for you, is our mobile evidence comparer. Again, this is a unique function to E3. We have videos just about this function, but you can go through and load up two different cases here, and I can see the differences between the two pieces of data. If you work in an organization where you do regular reviews of the data, or you're in a law enforcement organization and there are two different sides to the case, this is how you can compare to make sure as it was reviewed by the other party in the case, it is not changed in that process. You can check out our YouTube videos at Paraben Forensics, all one word, for individual videos about almost all the functions inside E3. We like to keep them full and active in there. Finally, before I finish this out, let me just take a quick look at that Apple data. So with the Apple data, you'll see parsed data, you'll see parsed recovery data, and you'll also see all of these other pieces of information. Those are some of the keychain data that we get when we do our processing of Apple devices. We can process Apple devices logically, and we can do it physically when they're jailbroken, and we support all the latest jailbreak options associated with Apple. Some of the unique pieces of information you might see associated with an Apple device are the last 3 phone numbers associated with the SIMs that have been plugged into this device. You're going to get voicemails that you're going to see that data associated with it. And of course, you can go through and look at the basics of any of the messages, whether or not it's SMS or an iMessage. And then you will also get the metadata that says whether or not it was Siri that was sending the message or not. So it was her that typed it. We really try to get into the metadata so those data gaps are filled for you by using the E3 platform. Now we've come to the end of the demo. I've given you a nice summary of all the different things, and it is a summary. There are a lot of other functionality in the E3 platform, but you can go through and see whether or not this is a good fit for your lab. We do offer trials of the tool, and you can email us at trial@paraben.com, and they can help get you signed up so you can try the E3 platform yourself. Or you can email us, again, trial@paraben.com, and we will set up an individualized demo for you, and we can walk you through the data types that you might need in your investigation. Thank you very much for joining me in this quick summary and demonstration of the E3 Forensic Platform.